Alright, let's see what we got here. This is the first game using the... Well, not the first game. It's first game on camera using the updated version of the Deadly Divining Rod deck. And this hand looks amazing. We're snap keeping this. This hand's great. Turn 2, turn 3. We'll start off with the Diplomatic... Actually, it doesn't really matter. This is going to give us a second time. This is going to give us a second shadow. So we don't actually need this to be... whatever. We'll make a time out of it. We don't really... Like, this could be influence less and it wouldn't matter because we have everything we need. This hand's very good. Alright. This is going to be quite the trial because we're playing against one of our worst matchups. We'll see how nutty our opponent's draw is. If he plays like a Grenadine and another Prior Knight, and then he plays like 2 or 3 more units, then we're going to be in some trouble. But I think what I'm going to do is ambush that with the... No. Because I can ambush it with Iron and trade 1 for 1, gain 3 life, or he torches it and I still get the block, so I mitigate 3 damage that way. Or I can just play the Cat Burglar and see if he has the torch. If he has the torch, he kills it just like he would kill the Abductor. But the difference is I keep the Abductor alive in hopes that I can ambush a 1/1 unit or 2/1 unit and gain some life and keep it around. So I'm gonna play the greedy route and hope that he doesn't have a torch, or that if he has a torch, he's not gonna use it. But chances are he'll use the torch if he has it. Because the only difference is, if I play the Iron, he can still torch it. The only difference is whether or not I get to declare the block and mitigate 3 damage. But I think I can gain more life by keeping it around than trading it with this Instigator. So everything worked out really well. We took a gamble, and it paid off quite well. So the question is... This is really strong, and I do need to block it. So I think what I'll do in this case is simply play the banner and then pass the turn with the hope that I can trade with it. And hope he doesn't have a rapid shot, because if he has a rapid shot, then I get completely destroyed. He's smart, he'll attack first and not play any spells. Yeah, so this is another gamble we have to take. But I feel like if he has a rapid shot, he might have used it on my Cat Burglar. Okay, so we're taking no damage there. Oh, because it doesn't have Overwhelm, I actually gain life. That's actually pretty good. Okay, so now he's playing out his cheaper units, which is unfortunate because I would have really liked to ambush some of those with my Iron and gain some life. But as it is right now, we're at 6 power. We're 2 turns away from playing Vera. And we have all the power that we need, and we're at a really, really healthy life total. I imagine Vera bringing back Iron the Abductor is going to break this deck pretty hard. So, we're not going to block here because I think this has more value. If I draw a Zen and Obelisk, I can make it a 1/3 and block and kill his Pyro Knight. So, I think we're in pretty good shape. The best thing is if he just wastes 6 power to pump the Pyro Knight, and if that's the case, we're in really good shape. Oh yeah, we're taking 8 here, going to 16, and with such a healthy life total with 2 Veras in our hand, I can't really imagine losing this game. And I also... So my opponent's quite smart. He chose not to attack with this Nightjack because he's seen the Iron, so he's thinking we're going to ambush it, so that's why he attacks with a 5/6/5 only. I think opponents play this game pretty well, but this is when things is going to go really wrong for our opponent. He can attack if he has a rapid shot, but he didn't have one a few turns ago, so he need to have drawn the rapid shot, and then if he attacks, then we're going to assume he has a rapid shot. That's fine too. We'll take another 6, because we have another one. Taking damage from this deck is okay. The only risk I have here is he draws 2 Obliterates, but we're going to be hitting him with the Iron, so we'll be getting life, so I think we'll be okay. I think we're going to be outside of his burn range. I think this will prompt a concession. Yeah, so opponent's hand isn't fast enough, and we drew really well. And also, this isn't the one that we're scared of. We're more afraid of the Jita list with a ton of tokens. That one is a little too fast. This one is more mid-range, and we are much more well set up against a mid-range deck. So if he has two, well, he's just gonna see it. Never mind. Because I was trying to work out how much quick strike damage he can do to us. So, oh, okay, well, I guess that's it. We're one game. We're in Masters. Let's just play a few more games because that was a little bit anticlimactic. I don't actually know how many points you get per win, so I don't pay attention to that stuff. So I didn't know that you can get that much. Whoa, our rank is so low. That means well, I'm not totally sure how your initial rank is determined when you go into Masters. Is it just based on how many other Masters there are right now? So I always start at the bottom of the list? Or is it based on the MMR that I've picked up throughout the month of playing? Because both make sense. I mean, this is really late in the month. I can believe that there's 1,000 Masters already. There has been a lot of new players to the game. But I can also believe that my record over the last few weeks has been pretty poor. Like I said, I've been testing various versions of the deck, and some of the versions clearly just didn't work. So I've been losing a lot of games. So I think my MMR is pretty low this month as well. So both of those reasons could be why I'm so low on Masters. I remember a few months ago when I did the Masters rush on the first night. I think 3 or 4 months ago, when I still cared a lot about climbing the Masters faster and earlier, I would do the climb first thing, like literally the 12 a.m. of the reset. I would log in and do like 4 or 5 hours worth of Masters of games and climb into Masters in the first 24 hours after the reset. And typically when I do that, I think I would jump into Masters at somewhere in the top 50. So I'm not too familiar with what it is like climbing into Masters this late, and also with so many losses during the month as well. Even last month, I climbed into Masters in the second half of the month, and I started in like the top 400s, I think. But last month I climbed using a Jita-less Stone Scar aggro deck, and my win rate was incredibly high with that deck. So I climbed to Masters with like probably like an 80+% win rate with that deck. So, and maybe that's one of the reasons why I ended up in a higher rank. Anyway, that's like let's focus on this game. That was completely pointless rambling. Our opponents play 3 colors. This color combination always makes me think gimmicky decks. I've seen like infinite combo decks using Infiltrators and West Wing Heralds and Bad News. I have seen I've actually seen a Mind Link deck that's in these colors, kind of like the Mind Link deck that I've uploaded a video for a little while back. No valid cards, but not too many serious decks in these colors. Let's see what my opponent does here. His first real play is going to tell us what deck he's running. It's really unfortunate that we missed the power drop, because then we had 3 very powerful threads we can play. What's great about having a Obelisk in play first is that all of these cards now dodges the torch. Also, it's a serious aggressive deck. Okay. Why? Oops. Okay, so I'm actually just going to go ahead and race him. We're not too far behind in the race here. And putting these 7 power units into play, I feel like it's much better than just killing his Drake and then have 3 power left over. We're not worried about this. Oh, huh. Alright, and now we're kind of worried about it. We've lost our threat. All 4 copies. Okay, here we can just have to slow him down a little bit. And attack him for 4. And that thing now has no abilities, so he can just play it and it'll just be a vanilla 5-2. And we're okay with that. Alright. That's okay, so my opponent's got a serious deck. He's got some very powerful evasive flyers. The fact that my opponent didn't do anything for the first 4 turns of the game, I think it's not the greatest thing. But maybe my opponent just has a handful of removal spells and he didn't use it because I also didn't do anything. I've chosen to play this over the 5-drops, even though it's not mana efficient. It's because I need to draw into some of my blockers that flies. Oh, wow. Yeah, I need to draw into like a Deadly Wasp or something, but I think it's too late. My opponent's killed me here. So my opponent's deck turns out to be really serious and very, very good. Very good damage. He killed me in what, like 3 turns? After having done nothing for the first 5 turns. I feel like my opponent's deck may have some issues against super fast aggressive decks. But then again, he could be holding on to a handful of lightning storms for all we know. So that was quite a surprise. This hand is okay. Turn 2, turn 3. And we have it's basically 5 power with a chump blocker. Yeah, I think it's not the greatest hand, but I think it's keepable. I like my opponent's deck though. Super greedy on the power, because he needs triple red to play the Soulfire Drake. And then he needs triple blue for... because he's not doing anything, let's just go and grab our power. Because putting the Wasp into play is only 1 power, 1 damage. So I think 1 damage is largely irrelevant in the long scheme of things. Alright. So we're playing against Chalice. My deck is actually pretty good against Chalice, but man, I would have really liked to... Oh, I do have one. Perfect. No! He hasn't drawn his Chalice yet. That's too bad. Because we had a pretty good shot in grabbing his Chalice, in which case, if he loses his first Chalice, we're in a really, really good shape. That's the problem with discard. Yeah, just like it is in Magic as well. Discard. Do we trade? Yeah, we trade. Just like it is with Magic as well. Discard loses to top deck pretty much. Okay, so we lose a unit. That's too bad. Yep, we'll go ahead and play the Power Stone instead of a second Blister Sting Wasp or the Steward, because this deck is pretty power hungry. If we draw into a Divining Rod or Vera, for example, we want the extra power in play. So this is fine. We're gonna go ahead and play this. My opponent's deck has plenty of silencing effects and also a Harsh Rule. We're not gonna be able to play around that really. We're just gonna go ahead and because if you don't play a powerful threat like this, your opponent doesn't ever have to use the Harsh Rule. So by holding back and not playing your threats, it gives the opponent the opportunity to hold back and not play his Harsh Rule. Or if he doesn't have a Harsh Rule, it gives him time to draw into one. This is why you always play out your threats. At least one very powerful threat against a control. The question is, do I want to Divining Rod this now? Because I have a very powerful threat in play, and this is going to force him to act. But if I play the Divining Rod onto here, and put a bunch of creatures in play, and he has a Harsh Rule, then I just lose all of it. Whereas this forces him to chump block every turn. I think because we're Vera in our hand, we're just going to go ahead and do this. Holy crap, we hit a lot of things. Wow. Okay. So my opponent pretty much has to have the Harsh Rule in his hand or he's dead. That was an amazing Divining Rod, by the way. It hit 3 things and then the Vera brought back and forth. So effectively it hit 4 things. A Zenith Obelisk would be pretty sweet here. Yeah, so he does have the Harsh Rule. I think that's fine. I think we just lose, what, 2 cards there? Oh no, we lost 3 cards because we lost the Divining Rod, the Wasp, and also the Ashara itself. My opponent lost 1, 2, and 3 cards himself, so it's kind of fair. So let's play this. Unfortunate thing is he has a Seraph in play with 8 power. So the good news is though, this unit will attack every turn and it'll basically kill one of his units every turn if he chooses chump block. So this very aggressive attacker is quite good. Oh jeez. Alright. Our deck does have some problems against flying units. So Wonder if we should play the Steward of the Past, because this allows us to attack, and it forces him to have a second harsh rule. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. I understand that I'm being a little impatient, and I am playing into another harsh rule, but it's kind of hard to beat an active Seraph, so... And now he has a infinite card draw as well. This is the times where we really wish we had some kind of removal spell. He can crack back from more. Okay, let's attack with these. Actually, I shouldn't have attacked with a 1-3. I should have definitely blocked with a 1-3 instead. Because he can hit me for 4. So it's pretty bad trading 1 damage for 4 damage. So that might have been a mistake. A Zenon Obelisk would have been pretty amazing though. So the good news is, no matter how big this unit gets, we still trade with him one-on-one. But the bad news is now he's drawing infinite cards. He may not, and my opponent's not playing Chalice. He's playing some kind of ramp deck, which I like. He's gonna play a Great Parliament. Yep, that's somewhat problematic. We have to be able to. It's oh hey. The question is, do I play the Zenith? No, we definitely play Vera here, right? So we grab Vera back, and we grab the 1-3 Deadly, I believe, so we can block. And here we smash, because now we have enough blockers that we don't care about trading things. So let's say he cracks back with everything. I can block 2 of the 4/4s. One of the Veras can eat the 12/12. No, this is a good attack. On the following turn, if we're lucky, we can draw. If we draw a unit that's 4 to cast or lower, then we can play the Obelisk, which gives +2/+2 to my team, and then we can bring back probably another Ashura Deathshot, and then my opponent's gonna be having a really tough time racing us. Even with an active Seraph, he'll be having a really tough time. Yep, that's the most expendable unit by far. So go ahead and chump there. It'd be nice to be able to give our units Overwhelm, actually, because with Deadly on every unit, Overwhelm pretty much guarantees damage, in which case this attack could have just killed him. Well, not this attack, but if we attack with everything with Overwhelm. In one of the versions that I built, I splashed red for Statutory Maidens, which has Deadly, and also Champion of Chaos, which could also have Deadly. And that version was pretty cool. I tried using a couple Granite Rings to give my units Overwhelm. In theory, it sounded really good, but the deck didn't work out because it had a lot of mana issues. Uh-oh. Oh, my opponent's going to the face. That's dangerous. So I guess if he has another Tempest next turn... Okay, so we're taking a ton of damage here. Taking 8. So if he has another Channel the Tempest next turn, we do lose. He'll have enough cards to kill us with it. So yeah, he's not taking any chances. He just wiped the board. Chances are he has the Channel the Tempest in his hand, and chances are he's won this game. Alright. That's too bad. Oh, he just has a bunch of units, which is still good enough. Not a lot of cards I can draw that can come back from 2 big units like this. Oh, 3 units. So Vera is the only draw that I have that would matter. And nope, we draw power. Yeah, we do sometimes flat out. Alright, I think that's 3 games. We're 1 and 2. I think we'll play one more and see if we can't get a 2-2 record, and then we'll call it a night. I think I've already recorded a lot of games with this deck. It's not good enough. So I don't want to inundate you guys with the same deck over and over again, but this deck really is fun to play. I really enjoy it. We'll start off with the Zenon Banner here. We have all the power requirements we need. We don't care about the Diplomatic Seal being a influence-less card. So let's just go ahead and play this. We'll save the Vera's Favor. We don't need the power yet, and we could very well have some good targets, like maybe if he plays a Dawnwalker, for example. So our hand is pretty cool. Turn 3, turn 4. Turn 5 and 6. Seems pretty good. Opponent's gonna have some kind of removal spell, I'm sure, but we'll play this Obelisk first, attack him for 4. Because this way, he can't trade it with his Iron, which he undoubtedly has. Yep, ours is bigger, so it's better. Not all Zenin lists play Obelisk though, so this Obelisk will give us a major advantage over him, because we play a lot of the same cards, and ours is just going to be stronger than his. Well, not a lot of the same cards, I guess. Just Iron and maybe Mystic Ascendant. I doubt he plays it. Oh, well, he also plays this. So there's that. So let's just swing in for 4, see if we can draw out a Death Strike. That would be ideal, because then we want to draw cards off this thing. Yeah, let's go ahead and draw a card. Do I Vera's favorite this turn? I'm going to do that because... No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to save it. Yep, we draw the power anyway. Because I wanted to draw the power to make sure that we can double Iron next turn. How many Irons do we have in play at the end of next turn? Let's guess. Let's see if he has another one. I see sometimes people refer to Iron as a she. And I don't know that I can tell that this is a she. Okay. Oh, he kills the interrogator instead of the obelisk. That's a big mistake. I think you just kill the obelisk, because once the obelisk is killed, the Irons are pretty weak sauce, right? I mean, sorry, once you kill the obelisk, the interrogator is a 4/3 and he's not drawing me any cards. So I think that's a mistake. Let's eat both of these. Yeah. It'd be funny if my opponent has 2 Vera favors though. Kills him anyway. Oh, there's one. God, I hate calling these things. Every time I call something, it's true. Oh, alright. Steward of the Past is a very good card right now. It hurts us, and it certainly hurts our Veras. It's really good right now because there's so many people playing that gimmicky Echoing Revenge deck. I did a deck tech on this deck many months ago. I love that deck. Played it every day. Didn't do too well with it, and it seems like now it's somehow picked back up in popularity. Everybody that I ran into in Masters, that's like 650 and higher, so like 650 to like 1,000. Everyone I run into is like almost everyone I run into is playing that Echoing Revenge deck with Macto and Elysian Pathfinder, which gives it Echo. Okay, so my opponent needs a removal spell here right away, or he's toast. Any card we draw is good. If we draw power, we can use Iron's ability to bring back some giant units. Very giant units. If we don't draw power, then it's going to be something we can play. Preferably something expensive though. Vera would be great. Divining Rod is not great because we need a unit with Deadly first. Mystic Ascendant is not great because we have no power left in our hand. Okay, so he has no removal. He's in some trouble. He's gonna have to trade he's gonna have to chump block with one of these units here. Well, that is an amazing draw. Let's see what we get here. Oh no, we just get a Cat Burglar. Well, it's still okay. Because it's got Deadly, attacking into him forces a trade or chump block of some kind, so it's always good. This is one of the reasons why I like this deck. Your Deadly units are almost never irrelevant. If you were to play an average deck, and at this point, if you were to draw like I don't know, even a Dawnwalker at this point is pretty weak, and an Amber Acolyte. What if you drew a Impending Doom? None of these things would have mattered at this stage of the game where your opponent, where your units are all so huge. But Deadly units will always trade with your opponents. Whatever it is that they play, you will always trade. So, and I like that a lot. We're 1 power short from getting 7799 Mystic Ascendant here. and then a 9-8 interrogator, and my opponent's not going to be able to deal with that. This color combination has trouble against very large units. Yeah, it's okay. The Ion's going to silence them anyway, so it wouldn't matter here. I think he's dead, right? So I bounce this, attack with everything. He has to block the 11-11, then he takes 15. Yeah, he's dead. The opponent has a lot of cards in hand, but not a lot of action. Alright, well that worked out pretty well. Wow, it's a very small change in my rank. Yeah, we did 4 games. I think we beat a aggro deck, which is fantastic. We lost 2 games. I don't remember why I lost those games. I think my opponent drew pretty well. We lost to a harsh rule. Oh no, we lost to a really interesting 3-color greedy flyers deck with a bunch of dragons, which I think is a cool deck. I really like it. And then the third one we lost to a ramp deck, and I think the ramp deck is very powerful in the late game. We do have some trouble dealing with cards like Great Parliament that creates many copies of something. And we certainly have trouble against decks with a lot of flyers. We don't have enough answers for flyers in our deck. We only have the 4 Wasp, 1/3 Wasp, and 2 Scorpion Wasps. I think that's the only 6 anti-flyer units so that we have, and then we only have 4 removal spells. So all in all, 10 cards in a deck to deal with flyers. So obviously we're not going to be able to deal with things like Great Parliament, which creates a huge number of flyers. And because we have a low number of removal spells, we had some trouble against my opponent's Seraph, which we couldn't kill, and he just made units with it. So I think that loss there is not surprising. I think a ramp deck like that is pretty good against us. But then a final game, we played against a Zenin Mirror, and I think I'm super heavily favored in the Zenin Mirror deck in a matchup, because this deck does so much more than an average typical Zenin deck. And one of the powers of playing Time is that you have very large undercosted units like Titans and etc. But we don't care at all about the size of units. Any kind of mid-range deck that relies on giant units, we don't care at all about. Decks that uses Aegis, we don't care about. So I've played against a Combray aggro list with, Awakened Students and Stand Togethers and a lot of undercosted, large, powerful attacking units. We don't care about that at all. Every one of our units will trade with theirs regardless of Aegis. We were very well favored against things like Heart of the Vault. So Praxis, we are heavily favored against most mid-range to late-game decks. With the exception of Elysian mid-range, there is some issues dealing with a consecutive Crystallize. The first Crystallize may not kill us, but if he has another one, then I think we do die over 2 turns. So that's the only problem. So I think this deck is very strong, super fun to play. Especially when you're dividing Rot into 4 units like we just did in the last game, the third game. I think this deck is fun, it's interesting, it's a little bit different, it's very powerful, it has strong mid to late game, has a pretty good early game. I highly recommend this list. I climbed into Masters with this version pretty quickly. I lost a lot of games while I was tweaking and changing versions, but when I finally settled onto this final version, it worked out quite well. A pretty decent win rate, so even if you're looking to climb and you just want to be a little bit different, you don't want to use the typical tier 1 stock net deck list, I highly recommend trying this one out. It's a fun deck. I mean, how often do you get to play with a Shard, a Dead Shot, and it's actually good, right? So as always, thanks for watching my videos. If you like what you see, give me a like or thumbs up, or subscribe if you want to see more content from me. We're moving into the second half of the month now. Right now, I think over the next couple of weeks, our videos will be focused on playing sort of semi or fully competitive decks to try and climb into top 100 of the Masters. So if you enjoy gimmicky brews like this one, you're gonna have to wait until the beginning of the next month, where we spend the first half of the month exploring and trying out gimmick decks. All right, thanks for watching.